the fire came alive like a monster. It roared through the wheat, devouring the golden stalks her family had nurtured for months. Ash floated against the darkening sky, sparks leaping like demons into the night. The smell of smoke burned Emma's throat, filling her chest with something heavy and unbearable. Her hands trembled, her nails biting into her palms as she stood frozen. And just beyond the inferno, she saw them, their laughing faces lit up by firelight. Boys in bright blue and yellow varsity jackets, their grins wicked, their voices mocking. Two held silver gas cans, swinging them like trophies. The leader, tall, broad-shouldered, with arrogance stitched into every inch of him, stepped forward. He pointed at Emma, his smirk cutting deeper than the flames themselves. "Guess what, farm girl? We own this now." The laughter of his friends rose above the crackle of fire. Emma's heart pounded so hard it hurt. Her breath came sharp, ragged. For a fleeting second, she thought her knees would buckle. But then something shifted inside her. The shock gave way to a different fire, one that burned hotter, deeper. She locked her gaze on the leader, memorizing every cruel curve of his smile, every detail of that bright varsity jacket. She burned their faces into her memory the same way they burned her family's field into ash. And that night, as the wheat collapsed into blackened soil, Emma swore she wouldn't be their victim. She wouldn't be their joke. She would become their nightmare. And before I take you further into Emma's relentless journey of justice, I want to pause for just a heartbeat. Stories like this one, about courage, pain, and the fire that lives inside us, are what we bring to life here on Soul Touch Stories. If you find yourself pulled in, if you crave tales that stir your heart and keep you on the edge of your seat, make sure to subscribe and stay with us. Because the best stories, they touch your soul. Now, let's step deeper into Emma's world. The morning after the fire, Emma stood at the edge of the field. The once golden waves of wheat were now a graveyard of ash, the soil scarred black as if the earth itself had been wounded. Wisps of smoke curled into the cold morning air. The silence was unbearable, no birds, no rustling stalks, only the hollow crackle of dying embers. Her father walked beside her, boots crunching against burnt debris. His weathered face, usually unreadable, was marked with something she had never seen before, defeat. "Emma," he said softly, almost to himself, "we may lose the farm." She turned to look at him. His strong shoulders were slumped, his eyes shadowed with exhaustion. He was a man who had worked sunup to sundown his entire life, who had taught Emma the value of sweat and persistence. And now, he looked like a tree struck by lightning, still standing, but cracked deep inside. Emma's throat tightened. She wanted to say something, anything to make it better. But the words wouldn't come. All she could see was firelight reflected in laughing eyes. That afternoon, Emma slipped into the barn. Dust hung in the air, sunlight streaming through slats like golden blades. In the corner, covered in a faded canvas, rested her late grandfather's hunting bow. She pulled it out slowly, her fingers brushing against the polished wood. Memories rushed back, her grandfather's patient voice, his steady hands guiding hers, teaching her to draw the string, to aim with calm breath, to respect the power of every shot. Now, Emma wasn't thinking of hunting deer. She was thinking of hunting wolves dressed in varsity jackets. At school, the boys walked tall, strutting through hallways as if nothing had happened. Teachers smiled at them, teammates slapped their backs. They were golden boys, untouchable. Emma felt her fists tighten at the sight of them. "Emma, don't," whispered Lily, her best friend. Lily had fiery auburn hair, freckles scattered like stars, and eyes that always searched Emma's face for truth. "They're not worth it. You'll only make it worse." Emma turned, her voice low but sharp. "They already made it worse. They took everything. And I won't let them walk away laughing." Lily bit her lip, torn. Then she gripped Emma's hand tightly. "If you're going to fight, then don't fight alone. I've got you." That was Lily, loyal to the bone. And though Emma didn't say it, her chest ached with gratitude. Nights became Emma's battleground. While her father scoured the town for odd jobs to pay overdue bills, she disappeared into the woods. She ran until her legs burned, climbed until her hands bled, drew her bow until her arms trembled. The forest became her training ground, her sanctuary. Lily sometimes joined her, timing her sprints, holding flashlights, sketching makeshift targets from old cardboard. "You're like a ranger," she whispered one night as Emma landed silently from a tree branch, bow at the ready. Silent. Precise. Deadly. Emma smiled faintly. Then it's time to hunt. But not every bully was the same. Mark, the leader, was cruel down to the bone, arrogance dripping from every word. Jared was his right hand, loyal like a dog, never questioning orders. Connor was loud, reckless, the kind of boy who bragged too much to hide his fear. And then there was Ryan. Ryan didn't laugh as loud as the others. Sometimes, in the corner of Emma's eye, she caught hesitation flicker across his face, like he wasn't sure he belonged in their pack. That hesitation would matter later. The first strike came at the autumn festival. Bonfires lit up the riverbank, music and laughter filling the air. The boys swaggered around, drunk on their own charm. Emma waited. Watched. Then followed two of them, Jared and Connor, as they slipped into the woods with spray paint cans, whispering about vandalizing the fairground. Her bowstring twanged in the dark. An arrow embedded into a tree trunk inches from their heads. "Drop the paint," Emma commanded, stepping into the moonlight. Their cocky grins vanished. "Emma? What the hell? You burned my field," she said coldly. "And tonight, you'll admit it." She made them carve it into the dirt with trembling fingers. "We burned her field." Their hands shook as they etched the truth, fear dripping from every breath. For the first time, they weren't predators. They were prey. And Emma didn't stop. Connor found his varsity jacket shredded and nailed to the school flagpole with an arrow piercing the letter B. Jared woke one morning to find a video of himself stammering confessions circulating through school group chats. Their power began to crumble. Whispers spread like wildfire. But Mark only grew more furious. He sneered at Emma in the hallway, leaned in close enough that she could smell the arrogance on his breath. "You think you scare me? You're just a farm girl playing soldier." Emma didn't answer. Her silence was sharper than any insult. One night, deep in the woods, Ryan found her. She spun, bow raised, but he lifted his hands quickly. "I'm not here to fight," he said, voice trembling. I need you to know. I didn't want to do it. Burning your field, I tried to stop them. Mark threatened me. Said if I didn't go along, they'd destroy me too. I'm sorry, Emma. I'm so sorry." Her bow stayed drawn, but she searched his eyes. There was no smirk. No arrogance. Only shame. "Then prove it," she said. Ryan nodded, tears glinting. "Tell me what to do." With Ryan's help, Emma uncovered their secrets. He showed her the hidden shed where they stored gas cans. He confessed to the videos they bragged about recording. He gave her every detail she needed to tear them down piece by piece. But Emma's war wasn't just against them. It was against herself, the anger boiling inside, tempting her to cross a line she couldn't uncross. Her grandfather's words echoed in her mind, "Justice is a bowstring pulled taut. Pull too far, and it snaps." One night, she sat in the ashes of her field, bow across her knees. She whispered into the wind, "Am I becoming like them, Grandpa? Or am I finally strong enough to stop them?" The night answered only with the distant cry of an owl. But deep inside, Emma knew this wasn't vengeance anymore. It was justice. The final confrontation came when Mark, still unrepentant, cornered her outside the diner. His smirk hadn't faded, though his friends had. "You think you've won? People don't care about you. You're nothing but a farm girl. They'll forget you. Just like they'll forget your stupid farm." Emma stepped closer, her voice low but steady. "No, Mark. They'll remember. Because you tried to burn me down, and instead, you lit me up." And for the first time, his smirk cracked. The truth spread like wildfire. Ryan's testimony, the confessions Emma forced, the evidence she revealed, it all came crashing down. The Golden Boys fell from grace. Coaches benched them, teachers scolded them, neighbors turned away in shame. Meanwhile, Emma's family wasn't alone anymore. Neighbors brought seeds, tools, and hope. Volunteers came with tractors, hands, and hearts ready to rebuild. Lily stayed beside her always, reminding her that the strongest roots grow after fire. Before I share Emma's final words with you, I want to remind you, if this story stirred something inside you, if you believe in strength rising from ashes, then help us grow this community by liking, commenting, and subscribing to Soul Touch Stories. Every action you take helps us keep telling stories that matter. On a crisp spring morning, months after the fire, Emma stood in her field once more. This time, it wasn't ash. It was green. Alive. The stalks swayed gently in the breeze, whispering promises of a new beginning. Her father stood beside her, his hand resting on her shoulder, pride softening his tired eyes. "You didn't just fight for this farm, Emma," he said. "You fought for yourself." Lily smiled through tears. Ryan worked silently in the background, driving stakes into the soil, his way of planting redemption alongside the wheat. Emma looked at the horizon, where the sun painted the sky with promise. "They tried to bury me," she whispered, "but they didn't know I was a seed." And with that, Emma walked forward, not just a farm girl anymore, but a ranger of her own destiny.